Hello guys, and welcome to my WZ-115A review. It's a brand new tank, and it's a tank that I actually enjoyed and actually went out and got in the first day. And I'm making a video about it, and I have some pretty cool gameplay as well later in the video. But for right now, let's just talk about how this tank is different from the 121, or 113 rather, and what its strengths are and what its huge weaknesses are. So let's start with the weaknesses of both the 113 and the WZ. Let's start with the 113. The weaknesses of this tank really is that it doesn't have the 7 degrees of gun depression over the front. It only has it over the side. Also, that this tank is very long. It's a very long tank. It's even longer than the 50B, which is pretty insane. Which means that you can't really use that many positions to hide. You can't also poke around corners because the turret is in the middle of the tank rather than in the front. If you can see, the WZ has the turret in the front, and there's not very much in front of that. But on this tank, there's a lot of tank, so you can't poke around a corner very effectively as you can in the WZ and the 113. Another problem with this tank is that it's not very accurate. It's accurate. It's okay for a heavy tank. .33 is not bad. WZ is not much better. .34, so it's about the same. The difference is that the gun handling on the 113 is slightly better than on the WZ. I mean, the aim time is better on this tank, but the general gun handling is better on the 113. That's pretty much the only weaknesses of the 113. It doesn't really have that much more. It's more mobile. It has good turret armor. It has almost an impenetrable turret. Like, you really cannot pen this thing if it's playing correctly. The upper hull is probably a bit better. The lower plate's better, definitely, than the Model 5A. But that's pretty much it. The 113 is pretty much the best heavy tank in the game, in my opinion, right now. It's just the most flexible, does everything right. Just nothing really. There's no really problems with this tank. It's just insane. Also, let's talk about the DPM really quick. The DPM in this thing is like 3,300, something like that. It's ridiculous, especially when you have this 340 heat round. So let's talk about the WZ then. So the WZ has something that the 113 does not have, which is a high alpha damage gun. It has 490 alpha damage. It's got pretty garbage dispersion and aim time, or it's got good aim time but bad accuracy. So this tank's not really for the kind of sniper player. Neither of these tanks are. They're kind of just for the brawler, but they brawl in different ways. As the 113 brawls almost exclusively side scraping and like hold down and shit, this tank is not very good at that either because of the massive weak spots right here, which are 160 millimeters. They are utterly awful. Like any tank pretty much that you will ever see in this tank can pen your cupolas, as well as your lower plate, which is only 150 millimeters, which they can easily pen. Also, if you're angling around a corner trying to side scrape, they can also shoot you right here or like right here, and you're pretty much going to be buttered every single time. So this tank's armor is atrocious. It's awful. So that's pretty much, it's got good nominal thickness, as in the front of the turret is 300 millimeters, which is, I mean, it's as good as the 113. However, you have these gigantic cupolas on top, which make it really easy to pen. So the only really way you're not going to get penned very reliably is if you're using all 7 degrees of gun depression and you're moving around and you're just poking to shoot, and that's pretty much it. So the strengths of this tank are obviously that it has 7 degrees over the front, which means you can poke up on a ridgeline, shoot, and then drop back. And then another strength of this tank is that it has 490 alpha damage, and it's as fast as a 113. It's not as fast, but it's pretty damn close, meaning that you can get to a very strong position very quickly and start trading before other heavy tanks are even able to start shooting you, so you can get maybe 2 shots in. And a thing about this tank is that it has a brutal DPM. Like, this tank can tear tanks apart. Like, you can 3-shot or 4-shot a tier 9. This tank is obscene if it's in a good position. If you get caught out, this tank is awful. You'll die instantly. Nothing will bounce you. You'll die instantly. If you get pushed down by a mouse, you're dead. Doesn't matter. But if you're able to sit in a position to hold down and farm, this tank is unmatched in its ability to tear tanks apart. So let's look at my loadout real quick of what I would recommend you play on this tank. I would recommend running a gun rammer. You don't have to run the innovative loading system. I just have it on there. But gun rammer, vents, and vert stab, pretty much the standard loadout. I have seen people suggest that you run, what's it called? Gun lane drive, but it's not good. I'd say running this is probably better, and the vents is a necessary thing. For ammo loadout, I mean, you can kind of just do whatever you want, but I would highly recommend, with all of the mice and Type 5 heavies and people are playing those type of tanks, I would highly recommend loading a lot of heat ammunition, as the heat ammunition on this tank is insane. 340 pen is really good. Obviously, you need some AP rounds because of penetrating through those light walls and fences. Sometimes comes in handy. Also, shooting at low armor tanks, the shell velocity of these rounds is obviously better than the heat. And although I do recommend you take maybe 1 to 2 HE rounds, it's not necessarily It's not necessarily good or bad to bring any. You can get away with having 0, and you can get away with having 1 or 2, but don't take more than that. There's no point. So next, we're gonna look at the consumables. This tank, you can't. I run food on every single tank I play, so but you don't have to run food. But you can run the experienced firefighting directive if you have the bonds for it. That's pretty much it. You can run a fire extinguisher tank. It's not this tank doesn't live or die on food, so that's pretty much it. Let's take a look at some gameplay. Alright, so what's up? So we're watching, now we're going to be watching the replay of the WZ that I was talking about earlier. So I'm coming up to the position here on this map. I like going down this position on the map because it gives you control of the 1-2 line. The ice road is kind of a pointless position. I don't know why all these things go here. The ice road never go on Mountain Pass. It's completely pointless. You have to push into hold down tanks that are on top of a hill and on top of this hill, and you have to push out tanks that are hold down. It's just a bad place. You're never going to be able to push it. It's just a stupid place to push. So the only real place you can actually fight is on the 1-2 line. And this is going to be a pretty decent example of how to play. So, as you can see, easily able to punish the 1-2-1 with this gun. This tank is ridiculous when you get into a position like this. So, right here at the start, obviously, I really can't do anything against this IS-7. We're just going to play a little bit safer now. And just bide our time a little bit, wait for something a little bit more easy to pen to come along. And that's pretty much it, but let's just talk about Mountain Pass a little bit more. This part of the map is really the only place you should ever fight in any tank. Even in mediums, you can come up to that little... you can come up to this little area right here where the 140 is, and get a pretty good position to shoot into the middle and on the other side. So here comes a Object 140 and some other mediums. Some other tanks are coming out over here to show up. Gonna shoot the 140 in the front of his turret. It's an easy pen for this gun, especially with this heat round. And the reload on this tank, if you notice, like this reload is really good. Like 8.6 seconds. It definitely tears these tanks apart. So just shooting these tanks here, not really doing anything that interesting so far. Just kind of just taking shots of opportunity, and that's pretty much all you can really do with this tank. You cannot push this tank. I would recommend you only pushing to a position where you can hold. You're not pushing just to push like an IS-7 or a mouse can. But just taking some shots here at this E4. Look at the alpha damage of this tank. It definitely brutalizes a lot of the enemies with this gun that it has. 490 alpha damage gun on a tank that's this fast. It's pretty obscene. IS-7 comes out, catch a shot into the upper right side of his hull, and our IS-4 gets taken out. Nothing really I could do about that, and I rushed the shot in his lower plate. But he bounces me as well. He shot my upper plate at a extreme angle. Again, going for the lights on the front of the IS-7. If you see those like the brush guards that defend the lights from like bushes and stuff, you can shoot those and it'll pen with pretty much any premium round in the game. So up to 4K damage already. Just basically just taking just little shots. Not really doing anything really major. Haven't really left this corner yet. But things are going to start going pretty bad here for my team and myself as my medium tanks aside. If you have noticed yet, I'm going to pause right here. If you can't see, my mediums are actually pushing out, and I'm only left with now just one 140, and I only have let's see, a 140 with me against 1, 2, 3, 4 tanks. This is not a very good situation. At this point, I was thinking, all right, well, I'm totally screwed. I'm dead. There's nothing that I can do, but I'm gonna try to survive and do as much damage as I can. And I don't get the angle right on the 1-2-1. He's over 80 degrees, so the heat doesn't pen. And then again, I whiff another shot into the side armor of the IS-7. But luckily, the RD saves me from taking a hit from the E4. And I thought this 1-2-1 was going to rush me, but he didn't actually do that. Just waiting to get a shot in this IS-7 here. But at this point, I was just like, all right, well, I'm dead. I'm just going to go push this IS-7. But, so once I see the 1-2-1 isn't coming after me, that little split second, I decided to push this IS-7. And it's about like a 50-50 if I kill this guy or not. So there we go. I take him out. And now I'm going to be locked in this like little 1v1 fight with this 1-2-1 here. You can see how maneuverable this tank is, like easily able to keep up with this 1-2-1. He gets a pretty good shot into my rear, but he gets baited into pushing too far forward, and we take him out as well. And now the IS-4 has come, another full health tank to come into the meat grinder here. gonna penetrate his upper plate with the heat round. We're at this close range. You pretty much know both of us are not gonna bounce each other. But my DPM is far better than his, so I'm able to put another shot into his upper plate. Using the IS-7 Rex, obviously, to using the Rex here to minimize the damage I take. He angles at the last second, causing me to bounce. And then I finally get some support here, and I'm gonna put the final shot into this guy and ammo rack him. So yeah, that fight was pretty nuts. We took out 3 tanks there. Pretty much we got the IS-4 kill from full HP. Took out the IS-7 pretty much by ourselves entirely, and we outplayed the 1-2-1 by taking him out by dancing around the Rex and just outplaying him that way. I mean, I don't really think that he had he could have pushed me earlier and I would have probably died. His mistake was that he, instead of pushing on the 140, he should have pushed on me because I had the higher HP, and a room med is not going to carry against heavies. Only I could have, so he should have just pushed behind me, and I probably would have died with about 6k damage, which would have been a good game. But then again, I wouldn't have had this monster replay. But now it's just basically an easy game of just picking off some more damage at the end. Nothing really more to say about this. Just going to be farming some more damage. But you can see the mobility of this tank, easily able to get up to its top speed pretty much on flat ground. So this tank is very mobile. It has a very punchy gun. You saw as soon as I got into a close quarters combat where I wasn't able to play hold down, you can see that the armor really doesn't hold up on this tank. It doesn't hold up at all, in fact. So, I mean, if you get caught, you're pretty much dead. But if you're able to trade, hold down without exposing a lot of your weak spots, then this tank can easily put out some huge damage numbers, as we're able to see here. And that's pretty much it. So, my opinion of this tank, I think it's good. I think it'll be player preference over the 113. I still think the 113 is a better tank. And there wasn't really anything in that replay where I was like, the 113 could have done this. So it's like, it's whatever. It's player preference. If you want a more accurate gun with better mobility, better armor, you can play the 113. Or if you want to play a tank that has less armor but just is better at trading, you can play this tank. So that's my opinion of the tank. It's a pretty good tank. I like it a lot, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.